Hillary Clinton's fate may be up to the supporters of her former rival. Why Bernie Sanders says they should get on board with Clinton and if they're taking the bait.
The difference of a few miles could spell disaster for the East Coast. See the latest projections for Hurricane Matthew, plus the damage it has caused and lives it has claimed so far.
Yeah, we went out running, with all the students to try and find him.
But instead, Drake visited the university that shares his name when most students were asleep. Meet the lucky guy who happened to be awake at the time.
From WHO HD, the local news leader. This is Channel 13 News at 6.
Just hope that they're as proud of me someday as I am proud of my mom, because I am fiercely, fiercely proud of my mom.
For presidential nominees, there's probably no greater support than the kind from their kids. This afternoon, Chelsea Clinton told a Davenport crowd her mom is right for the nation's top job. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Erin Kiernan.
And I'm Dan Winters. Hillary Clinton's #1 rival during the primary was also talking her up to a crowd in Des Moines.
But his message may be a bit more complicated than Chelsea Clinton's. Our Dave Price talked with Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders at Drake University to break it down. It's First on 13.
Thank you.
Bernie Sanders can still draw a crowd. Although his first trip back to Iowa since Hillary Clinton barely beat him in the February caucuses drew hundreds at Drake University instead of the thousands he drew before.
Please do not get me going, or you're going to be here for a very long time on the pharmaceutical industry.
Most of the message still sounds the same.
The pharmaceutical industry are the biggest bunch of crooks in this country.
Many of this mostly student crowd had heard all of that before, but they hadn't heard this part.
And if you look at the candidates, issue by issue, you will find that Secretary Clinton has a progressive agenda.
So welcome to the Clinton crowd, Abigail Nelson says, even though she admits her Clinton support didn't exactly make her feel welcome with the Sanders caucus crowd before.
It was kind of difficult because I had a lot of friends that were questioning me in all senses of everything, because Bernie obviously speaks to our generation with his policies and the things he focuses on.
Bernie Sanders standing in front of that big sign, that's the whole point here, but it didn't sit well with everybody here. Now, it seemed like it was the minority in this room, but some of those former Sanders supporters are not thrilled that he's now pushing Clinton for the job. Now, remember again what Sanders had told this room?
That Secretary Clinton has a progressive agenda.
I believe he is being honest about his positions. He's not being honest in saying that Hillary's actually going to do it. She's not going to do it. He's bought and paid for it.
Sanders himself seemed to acknowledge this will be a tough conversion for some supporters.
Look at the issues that impact you. Don't worry about Trump. Don't worry about Clinton. Worry about yourself.
He urged his followers to now follow him behind Clinton.
Vote for Hillary Clinton on Election Day.
But he doesn't want them to give up what they started in Iowa.
And the day after that, we're going to roll up our sleeves and make sure that we bring forth the most progressive agenda in the history of the United States of America.
At Drake University, Dave Price, Channel 13 News.
This was the 6th time Sanders has spoken at Drake.
Donald Trump, meanwhile, is heaping a lot of praise upon his running mate and himself. Trump says Mike Pence clearly won last night's vice presidential debate against Tim Kaine. Speaking to a crowd in Nevada, Trump touted his own judgment that led him to choose Pence for the position.
Mike Pence did an incredible job, and I'm getting a lot of credit because that's really my first so-called choice. That was my first hire, as we would say in Las Vegas.
Trump and Clinton will meet Sunday night for their second debate. It's being held in St. Louis.
People in Story County can soon cast their ballots at satellite absentee voting stations. The first opportunity is this Saturday at the Ames Human Services Center. It's one of about a half dozen locations in the county, and it's open from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Satellite voting in Polk County begins October 17th.
A corrections officer has been injured in a fight at the state penitentiary in Fort Madison. Authorities say it involved 2 inmates, and it happened in the dining hall last night. The officer and one of those inmates was taken to the hospital. Both are expected to recover. The penitentiary's visiting room remains closed as authorities investigate.
Police are trying to figure out who shot and killed a Davenport couple. Police found the bodies of 58-year-old Kevin Freeze and 57-year-old Donna Freeze in their home this morning. Neighbors say the Freezes shared their home with an adult son. They say they heard arguing last night, but they are completely shocked about this.
I'd seen kids out playing basketball at their hoop a couple times, and they waved at me, and it just seemed like such a normal family.
It's tough. I mean, it's good neighbors. It's a very nice neighborhood. It makes you think about what's going on in the world.
Neighbors also say police escorted a person from the home in handcuffs this morning.
2 people in Saylor Township died when they were overcome by gas fumes from a portable electric generator. That's according to the Des Moines Register. The Polk County Medical Examiner completed the autopsies of 42-year-old Alicia Arpey and 26-year-old Raymond Silbaugh III today. In August, their bodies were found inside this home on Northwest 54th Avenue. The body of a dog was also found inside.
A Des Moines student is being interviewed by police for making a threat against his school. That's according to school officials. They say the boy used a fake name to post about someone coming to Harding Middle School today to kill students. Police say the threat was not credible. They say it is part of a rash of similar threats all over the country.
People in Polk County are split over whether a plan to raise the minimum wage here should apply to all ages. Next week, the Board of Supervisors will vote for the last time on this plan. It would raise the wage to $10.75 an hour over a period of 3 years. Each year, employees under age 18 would earn 85% of what the adults would. Some claim that's age discrimination. Others argue it's actually saving teens their jobs.
We're talking to the grocery people, and they're saying, quite frankly, if you end up giving them the same wage, we're going to hire the adults because they can do more work. Makes a lot of sense.
If it's approved, Polk County will be Iowa's 4th county to raise the local minimum wage.
So it turns out Drake didn't ditch Drake. The campaign to bring the rapper to the school actually worked. He stopped by an empty campus around 2:30 this morning. Channel 13's Janae Town has the details.
We ran together, we cried together yesterday, and now we're all smiling together, and we're just kind of in disbelief that it actually happened.
That Drake came to Drake. The rap star made good on his promise, popping by after a show in the middle of the night.
Kappa Kappa Gamma, I'm outside your sorority house right now, and you're all asleep.
Yeah, and I was literally awake. I was sitting in my room doing homework.
Those awake either didn't hear the doorbell or want to answer it at that hour.
Kappa Alpha Theta, be out here waiting on you. We waiting on you.
They missed it, and I feel so bad for them.
Across the street, Ben Scott at Theta Chi was still up after seeing Drake in concert, and he's likely the only student to see him on campus.
I was kind of just looking around for other people on the street, and there was nobody up.
Drake rocked the school's leather jacket and basketball jersey on stage before coming here to pose on campus. His picture on Instagram is quickly becoming one of his most well-liked posts.
We had 9,000 followers on Instagram, and we just hit 15,000. Just in a few hours, we've had 6,000 new followers.
That spike in interest comes from people saying they want to transfer to Drake University.
Even if it's a joke, we don't take it as a joke. Here's our apply link. The online application is free. Go ahead and apply.
For students and fans already at Drake.
I missed him. It was really close, but at least I can say Drake was on my campus.
So yeah, I think I was the only one that actually saw him and spoke to him, which was phenomenal. I can't believe it happened.
In Des Moines, Janae Town, Channel 13 News.
It is a good thing people in Des Moines were able to see Drake on stage, because Rolling Stone is now reporting the rapper has canceled his next 3 shows. It's because of an ankle injury.
Can't imagine it working out better than it did in the end.
How fun.
Yeah. Well, and he's canceling one in Toronto, his home country.
Right.
Where we got him here, his own country doesn't get him. Oh boy, we're going to get big thunderstorms tomorrow night. In fact, there is a slight to an enhanced risk for some of these storms tomorrow night to become strong, severe, possibly large hail, damaging wind, and even an isolated tornado. After that, it's all into some beautiful fall weather, but beware, tomorrow is the day to watch. We'll be here for you.
And as soon as it's safe, we'll move everything in to help people find shelter and start rebuilding if needed.
Help is coming from hundreds of miles away from potential targets of Hurricane Matthew. We'll tell you what Iowans will be doing in the nation's southeast and why they say it is mutually beneficial.
And later, it's the middle of football season, but excitement about Basketball season is growing. What to expect when the Hawks take the court and how they're gearing up for the first game.
From WHO HD, the local news leader. You're watching Channel 13 News at 6.